With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. A safe place where both women and men can come and listen to real people talk about their breast cancer experience and the effects that follow well into survivorship. Hosted by Carrie Madrid, a stage 3 breast cancer survivor and founder of the CARE Project. It's time to Handle with Care.
Hey everyone, this is Carrie Madrid of Handle with Care, and today's episode we're talking to Norma Lopez, a breast cancer survivor whose mom is also a survivor. And in addition to that, Norma is part of our wellness team at the CARE Project Inc., which is my nonprofit in Riverside, California. So Norma teaches yoga and meditation. She's also an athletic trainer and a Reiki practitioner. That's just some of what she does. But we're going to talk about her experience with her diagnosis. We're going to talk about problems with implants that make people sick. And I'm going to share my experience of Reiki with her when she gave me a treatment. So kick back, enjoy. We promise you no hoodoo voodoo stuff. Leave us a review at the end and make sure you're subscribed. Enjoy. Hey everyone, welcome to Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. I'm your host, Carrie Madrid, and I am joined by special guest Norma Lopez today. Breast cancer survivor, yoga and meditation teacher, Reiki practitioner, athletic trainer. What else is on that list?
Ayurvedic education practitioner.
All that good stuff.
I just got accepted to Doctor of Acupuncture program school. So
that's very exciting. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining me. One of the things that I want to talk about a little bit later is the option of complementary therapies when any cancer patients are in treatment, and what can they do to help complement the science, the chemo, the radiation, whatever treatments they're having. So complementary therapies being the yoga, the Reiki, massage therapy, all that stuff. So we'll get to that. But tell me a little bit about your experience. When were you diagnosed and how did that come about?
I was diagnosed when I was 42 years old. I was a junior at CBU in college. And I just went into the healthcare facility there on campus and asked them to give me the works. I thought it was because I was an old student that I was tired. So
you weren't feeling well?
I was just really tired all the time. And my mom had just finished chemo radiation for breast cancer also, stage 2. And she kept pushing me to go get checked. So I
didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Maybe I did and I forgot. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah. So just one day my class got canceled because I had a job. So it was just full-time school and then straight to work. So I really never had time ever to go get checked. So just one day a class canceled and I decided to go into the health center, told the nurse, gave me the works. And she ordered my first mammogram.
Fantastic.
2 weeks later, got a call. We found something. We needed to go back in and do one localized mammogram, and sure enough, got a call back again, and biopsy. And then got called into her office right before I was going to go into chapel, and I said, just hold on, let me go to chapel, because I already knew.
Yeah.
And so,
I think a lot of us already know, right? And you just sort of have to get your mind ready because you know what you're about to hear.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how did that sit with you?
It didn't sit really well at all because people tell you, oh, it's nothing. You're too young. You're healthy. You're this, you're that. And so I allowed myself to believe it. So when I did get the news, it was harder than if I would have just had that mentality of, I'm going to prepare myself for the worst. I didn't. Yeah. I believed it's nothing. It's nothing. So when she did say it, I literally fell to the ground. She had to literally pick me up and hug me. And so it didn't sit well at all. And then after seeing my mom go through what she did.
I was just going to ask that. Do you think that really played, I would imagine it would play really heavily on your mind. Like you've seen what it can look like.
Right, I did.
Right?
And especially since I decided to go back to school at my age. And
Right.
finally, here I am getting my life back together, and then cancer was going to stop it.
Right.
So that, and then my kids, and then, it's just a lot.
So you were
going in my head.
42. I had just turned 41 when I got my diagnosis. Wow. And I was like, really? Like, I never went to the why me? But I was like,
Right.
why right now? Like I got one in junior high, one in high school, one just left for the Air Force. Like, could you not wait 10 years?
Right.
Like I need to get them out of my house.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I never said why. I said, okay, you got my attention. Now what?
Yeah.
What's
now
next?
What? Right.
Because I had a different mentality.
I think
going
that's
in.
where we clicked, really, because in that moment, it's like that fight or flight, right? So you can have that moment of, oh crap. And then it's like, all right, well, what do we do?
Right.
And it becomes your job.
Exactly.
Right.
It was.
So
a job,
what
yeah.
treatment did you have?
They gave me the option: keep my breasts and have tamoxifen and radiation,
Okay.
or have them removed and just the surgery, bilateral mastectomy. So I went.
So
for
it was.
the latter.
They caught it early, right?
We caught it super early, stage 0.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
My aunt
0.
was diagnosed stage 0.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is weird, though, because I
Yeah.
have a couple of other breast cancer survivor friends that had the same exact diagnosis, and they had to have radiation and tamoxifen. So I think it has to do with the oncologist.
I think
and
that's
their
part of
protocol.
it. I think that's part of it. Yeah. There's
And what
certain
facility
protocols.
they're associated with, and it's just strange. I got really lucky.
So you had a double mastectomy?
I had a bilateral mastectomy.
Okay. And then you had implants.
Yes.
Okay. So how did your reconstruction process go? How did you make that decision?
To make the decision about reconstruction, I was not about ready not to have breasts. So,
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's just like an automatic for you.
it was an automatic
Okay.
thing
Because
for me.
everybody
Once
makes
I
that
just-
choice differently.
Yeah, once I decided I was going to have my breast removed, it was automatic that I was going to have.
Okay. Well, at least if I got to have this, then I'm going to make sure I
Right.
get this done.
Unfortunately, my mindset at the time was, if I'm going to have my breast removed, I want to feel more like a woman. So I got
Absolutely.
bigger than I wanted to.
Yeah. A lot of people do that.
Yeah, I wish I would have gone smaller, because they get in the way.
They do get in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had a breast reduction 9 years before my diagnosis. And then following my reconstruction, I'm bigger now than I was then. And I was like, seriously? And my same surgeon did my reduction.
Really?
So when I go in to see him from time to time, for my touch-ups or whatever, he's like, did I make it that big? I'm like, yes, you did. Can we do something about it?
Right,
But
exactly.
yeah. So
Yeah.
how do you feel about your decision now? Because how long ago was that?
That was in 2013. I had my bilateral mastectomy. My last surgery was December 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about 7 years.
It's 7 years. Going on
So
7 years.
what's life like with implants? Because I don't have them, I don't know.
Okay, so life with implants, it takes a long while to get used to. I mean,
Yeah.
just looking at your chest, just in general, it's just kind of hard. But
Right.
just knowing that they're there and they're foreign, to me, they're not breasts. Like my husband always said, no, they're your breasts. No, they're not. They're not mine. They're foreign to me.
So I say that about myself because the reconstruction I had was deep flaps. So they cut me hip to hip and they took that whole flap of skin and fat and some blood supply and they did a tissue transplant to create what they called breast mounds. So for me, I'm like, they're not boobs to me,
Right,
right?
they're not.
They're just not.
They're foobs
They're
or
foobs.
tubies.
I call them Franken boobs.
I call mine tubies because it's mostly pec muscle with the implant.
Yeah. Well, to each his own, right?
You're
We all
right.
have
We
our
all
own
have our nicknames
yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
Damn things.
So, do you regret any decision about them?
I regret not knowing more about the process of implants and getting big, and my plastic surgeon allowing me to go bigger.
Yeah.
She was a female. She was amazing.
Yeah.
But it was my choice. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But at the time, I wish someone would have said, no, you know what? You may not want to go that big.
Yeah.
Because
We talk about that a lot here with our social club when people are discussing reconstruction and making their choices. Not everybody has all options available. There are several different types of reconstruction, but we all don't qualify for them. It depends on our body type, the treatment we've had, the radiation, and the damage it's done. Right. So people don't understand that. And so if anyone is listening that is newly diagnosed and already thinking reconstruction, my best advice personally is get all your options, sit with them, kind of let it marinate for a minute. There's no rush.
Right. No
right?
rush.
And then make your choice.
Right.
And I really wish, I know that you and I have talked about this with regard to surgeons, we wish at the time of discussing our options that they would also offer the option to stay flat.
Right.
It is an option. Not everybody wants to have implants or wants to have, and it's not even brought up, and that's the problem. I think that they often just assume what we need to feel whole, and while we appreciate that, you know, the intention is good, I think the surgeon community needs to take stock in that.
Right.
You know, they need to really think about that, I should say.
I know that some people have allergic reactions to these implants.
And let's talk about that.
Or my implants for that matter that are recalled.
Right. So what happens now? Like, how did you find out? Is that like when your car has something that's recalled? Do you get a letter in the mail?
I still to this day have not gotten any information. The only information I've gotten, and I don't know how I found it, was on Facebook. There's 2 pages. There's women who just got implants and who were healthy and did not have breast cancer. And there was another page that was of breast cancer survivors who got the implants. And they're the Allergan silicone with texture. And that's exactly what I got. And they're recalled. So now they're saying it causes cancer. When I called the lawyer, they said, well, we're not taking any cases unless you got you have cancer.
So you have to get sick before they'll
and you
do
have to have them
anything?
removed, and they do the pathology report, and you get diagnosed with that cancer, specific type of cancer.
But if you just say, hey, I hear these are all bad and I want them removed,
you have to pay out of pocket. It's like $10,000 to $15,000.
Wow.
Right.
That's a problem.
Yeah, and that's why I still have mine.
Yeah. So if the option were presented to you and they would cover it, would you have them removed and replaced with safer version? Or?
I think I would. I went through, and you and I talked where I was at that point when we talked last, I just didn't want anymore.
Right.
But now, and this is really important to just hold on to your thoughts and go through your processes, because now at this point, I think I want to have a safer option.
Yeah.
Right. A safer type of implant, because I'm not literally getting sick from them like a lot of other women, but I am
some people
afraid.
Are.
Yes.
Some people really have
because their body rejects it.
Sickness.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with me, I'm just afraid that the cancer is going to develop.
Yeah.
So who knows if it is? We won't know until they are removed. And
well, what can you do?
Nothing. Just
keep living your life.
Keep living.
I almost high-fived you right now. Just keep living your life,
keep doing my thing.
Oh, man. So how did your mom react?
My mom, she took it really hard. She actually, when I had my bilateral mastectomy, I woke up screaming from my anesthesia. So they knocked me out. I don't remember any of it.
Some people have that reaction to anesthesia.
I went in crying. So I think that's what it was, because I was devastated. And when I was coming out of anesthesia, they said I was screaming bloody murder and I was scaring everyone else. So they gave me medication to knock me out. So the only thing I remember is trying to wake up with someone doing a sternal rub, and I'm like, I just had surgery on my my chest, and you're doing a sternal rub to try to get me to breathe because I didn't want to breathe.
Oh, okay. So, I was like, what the heck were they rubbing your sternum for?
Because they sedated me so much that I stopped breathing. I didn't want to breathe anymore. So the one thing I remember was opening my eyes and seeing my mom, and she was crying.
Oh.
Yeah. So
how's she doing now?
She's doing good. She just got done with surgery. She had stomach cancer 2 years ago.
Okay.
She got diagnosed with stomach cancer, so had that, and then she had her gallbladder removed. But it's not your typical gallbladder because of the stomach cancer.
Right.
But now she's doing way better.
And how are you doing physically? You feel good?
Physically, I'm strong. Yeah, I'm doing really good.
I know you're a badass.
Trying to keep myself healthy.
So part of the way that, well, not part of the way, but part of the way we met was a mutual friend.
Right.
Roxanne, right, had told you about the CARE Project and about me in particular, and that I was starting a wellness program here at the CARE Project.
Right. She said, you need to meet Carrie.
Yeah, because this wellness program, what we found, as survivors, going into survivorship is often the hardest part. Right. Everyone thinks your treatment's done, you got through chemo, you made it, your hair's come back.
Right.
Now what?
Exactly.
Well, now you have to rebuild muscle. You have to work with sometimes not having any muscle in your chest. For me, being cut hip to hip and armpit to armpit, my whole midsection is like so weak. So I was so excited to meet you because you are a yoga teacher. You are a Reiki practitioner, which I kind of knew Reiki was energy healing, but I didn't know anything like what that really meant.
Right.
And you also have done guided meditation here for us. We did like a workshop, right? What was that? 3 weeks? 3 or 4 weeks?
It was 4 weeks.
Yeah. So we had a group of 6, I think, and we learned the benefits of meditation. Why don't you share some of those with us?
The benefits of meditation, especially after a diagnosis and treatment and chemo, is just relearning how to slow down your heart rate, to bring yourself back to center and focus, and just kind of calm down the anxiety that you have and the constant stress, that flight or fight. Yeah. That we constantly hold on to because it never goes away. But just learning how to deal with that, that's so beneficial.
We talk about, the wellness program for me really started out hand in hand, hands down. I knew it couldn't just be the emotional part of it and working through the anxiety and the scanxiety that we have every time we have to have our annual scans, and is something going to light up, right? There's that. There's the chemo brain because we can't focus and we can't find our words. And there's anesthesia brain
because after I had so many surgeries that I lost my memory also.
Yeah. I've had like 9 surgeries.
Yeah. I think I've had 5.
Yeah. And it's real. It's real. Some side effects dissipate after a time for some people, but not everybody. Some people literally have to learn to manage chemo brain the rest of their life. Exactly. So that's why I was interested in trying to meditate. I can't sit still long, you know that. But I really enjoyed the class. I learned.
The biggest thing is learning what meditation works best for you.
Absolutely.
Because that's what everyone ends up failing is because, that doesn't work for me. I can't do it. I can't sit still.
And they think they have to sit for an hour.
Right. Or I fall asleep because I'm laying down. Well, don't lay down.
Well, don't lay down, dummy. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's different forms of meditation. We did learn that. I know for me, it helped me focus. It helped me de-stress. It helped me let go of things at the end of the day. Yeah. Even if it's just 5 minutes when I'm this sounds funny, but this is how I operate. So, don't judge me. I might be, taking my shower at night and I'm brushing my teeth and I'm getting ready to crawl into bed. And while I'm brushing my teeth, I start thinking thoughts to myself about like what good happened today. And I've trained myself to not think about what I have to do tomorrow, but focus on the good stuff that happened. And now I have this little ritual. So now when I get into bed and I lay down, while I'm laying down, I am thinking about the gratitude, right? And perspective. I always say perspective is everything, but it's caused me to be able to how do you say it, shut off your brain, right? That's the hardest part.
We talked about that, downloading all day, every day, downloading so much information.
That's a great analogy.
And then we expect it to shut down.
Right.
And how are we supposed to do that?
Right. Well, especially when we're laying in bed with our phones.
Right. And that's why we call it a practice, because unless you practice it, you're not going to, it's not going to work. Yeah. Right?
Same thing with yoga. So people say, oh my gosh, I can't do yoga. I don't have, we have lack of mobility after, having our lymph nodes removed. Our arm doesn't reach all the way above our head. And we're automatically thinking that means we're going to twist up like a pretzel and stand on our head.
Exactly, because that's what we see on Instagram.
Yeah, that's what we see on Instagram and all these,
on a cliff.
Yeah. Yeah. I see those and I'm like, really? Yeah, that's not too bright. Exactly. Let's stand on our head on a cliff. Yeah, so it's not that. It's simple stretching. It's breathing. Oh my gosh. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of us that have had radiation, I had really intense radiation, is that I have a hard time taking a deep breath. To this day. I have a really hard time taking a deep breath. So especially doing yoga when they always focus on your breath and breathe in and do this. And I'm like, I can't breathe. Right. But what I've realized is give myself grace, do what I can do. And keep moving, right?
Because it'll get better. And that's why I got this tattooed on my arm, because it says breathe, right? And even with so many surgeries, I stopped learning how to breathe because it hurts so much. Yeah. And then with the stress you hold on to so much, you become a chest breather. When we talked about that, don't breathe with your chest, because then you start getting, and even though I didn't have chemo radiation, I did get some side effects of its thoracic outlet syndrome, where the stress just caused my brachial plexus and my nerves and artery to be clenched. So it feels like lymphedema because my arm will go numb. Yeah. But it's not. So that's just stuff that I had to deal with and relearn how to take care of
people will look at you and go, oh, look at her. She's an athletic trainer. She's in great shape. She hikes every day. They don't realize that you're still managing.
I'm still learning how to manage. And that's why I went the holistic approach with athletic training, because that's not your traditional athletic trainer. An athletic trainer is someone who's, in the gym or on the football field taking care of injuries. And me, I went a completely different way and stepped outside of that box. And now I'm more holistic with Reiki and meditation.
Right. So talk a little bit about Reiki.
So Reiki is energy healing. It's non-denominational. Yeah. So it's just kind of asking God to help and give energy that we all carry, but we're asking divine energy to come through, universal energy to come through and help heal, help reduce negative energy in a person. So we all carry that negative energy, that stress, and that's where Reiki helps, especially during chemo. I've had several breast cancer survivors going through chemo who actually came to me, and it's helped them.
How did you realize that you had a gift to help others like that?
Just getting signs and finally realizing it. I've always asked, because as an athletic trainer, I lay my hands on people to help them.
Right.
So I always asked, please let me help them, not knowing that I was soaking in their energy and it was making me sick. I was constantly sick and exhausted. And then, 2 people told me, oh, you should look into Reiki. And I was like, no, I don't do any of that hoodoo voodoo stuff.
Voodoo stuff.
I don't need to burn no sage. What is sage? Crystals. You know? But it just kept coming back. And I got so tired from working. I was working at Camp Pendleton and I was working on the Marines, and they carry a lot of energy.
I bet.
So I finally looked into it, and then just hearing my teacher, the way she talked and how beautiful it is. It's just so pure and it's just, I want to take a deep breath just talking about it, because that's how beautiful it is and
so
relaxing.
I want to share my experience with you. Are you good with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so when I heard this, I was just like, oh, what is this? Reiki? what do you mean energy healing?
Right.
Like, I am not a super religious person. I grew up in a church, and I believe in a higher power, and I believe in God, and I call it God, but some people call it universe. Whatever you choose to believe is
exactly
what works for you is fine by me.
Beautiful.
But I was like, what is this? Right? Like, what is this? So I talked to a friend who also kind of told me about it. And she's like, oh, you're just going to lay on a table or on a bed. And, they're not going to touch you. They're just going to have hands over you, close to you. And it's just a way of moving energy. And I thought, what the hell? I did. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, my goal at the Care Project with the wellness program is not to say, oh, you should do this and you should do that and you should be vegan and you should do yoga, but just to expose people. I'm never going to tell somebody what to do.
Exactly.
I'm going to say, I've tried this, I enjoyed it, or it worked for me, or I didn't so much like it, but this person loves it. Just to give people options, people like me that maybe have never heard of it. So when I said to you, I want a treatment, I was in a really, really stressed out space. And I just thought, it can't hurt. If nothing else, it's going to be forced relaxation. Right. I'm going to lay there for an hour.
Meditation music and sage.
And so we came here to my meditation. We met here at my meditation room. I had this meditation music going on my iPad. I had the candles lit. The diffuser going, I swear by essential oils, just because they put me in a great mood.
Right.
And you said, okay, are you okay if I sage? I was like, whatever that is. I saw Teresa the medium do it, so no problem, right? So you saged yourself, and that just meant really lighting this thing. I don't know. What is it? It's an herb, right? No.
Yeah, it's sage.
Is it? But is it an herb?
It is an herb.
Is it an herb?
Yeah,
okay.
It's California sage.
I never thought about it.
Yeah.
So you sort of sage. I just laid there. I closed my eyes. And I tried to just relax. And I just remember at some point feeling your hands, I think on my temples or on the top of my head. And that's the only time I really felt you touch me. And I felt like a very cool sensation for the most part. I remember with my eyes closed sort of seeing I imagine smoke, like purple smoke, like purple cobalt blue smoke. I didn't know what the hell that meant. I didn't really care. I was just like, okay, maybe I'm going to go to sleep. I don't know. I'm just going with the flow.
Right, exactly.
But probably 10 minutes into it, I was very, very, very relaxed. Right. And we didn't talk the whole time.
Nope.
You did what you do. I know you had your hands over me. When you were on my right side, you went from the top of my body to the tips of my toes. I felt very cool sensation. I felt fine. When you got to the left side, I felt like I was going to bust into flames.
Right.
I was, literally, I was hot. And
that's
I felt like...
That's the side everyone holds on to past energy and
that
trauma.
was also the side that was my cancer. And so I'm just thinking, this is weird, but okay, what is she doing? I really went to open my eyes, but I was in such almost, I don't want to say trance. I wasn't in a
meditative state.
I was in a meditative state in retrospect. And
the energy will do that to you.
Yeah.
It'll get you out of the way so that the energy can
get
its way.
I literally felt like I was just sort of like when I'm floating in my pool and I'm just letting the water take me.
Yes.
That's how I felt. And so I noticed that you did spend more time on the left. And at some point, when you were finished, I was assuming you were finished, I felt this like pull on the left side and towards the middle of my chest, almost like you were above my chest, like pulling a string. That made me like, like I took a breath and my chest lifted up high, and I felt something leave my body. Right. And that sounds so wacky. No. I know that it sounds wacky, but I said, holy shit, what was that? And you said energy, like it was nothing. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, we were working on releasing that energy for you.
So as a practitioner, what does that feel like to you? Do you feel it? I mean, you must, right?
I can actually pick up on, just for an example, I was doing Reiki on someone, and they're like, I have hot flashes. So if I get a hot flash, I'm going to be really uncomfortable. So I'm like, don't worry, I'll take care of that. I ended up getting their hot flash. And they were fine. They slept through the whole thing. And I remember saying, okay, I'm fine having their hot flash, but take it away when it's done because I don't want it. But the same thing, like I can feel your energy. I can feel the stress and anxiety. Yeah. I can even feel like past negative energy. Or if someone has someone else's negative energy, I can feel that also.
And working with cancer patients like I do, I do find I'm a very empathetic person. I've been there, done that. And so I do absorb other people's energy. And I didn't even, before everyone's weirded out about it, picture this. We all have that one friend that while we love them, we've known them forever, they're just so damn negative, right? And you can only stand to be around them for so long before you realize, like, when they leave, you're just like, man, like, whew, that was heavy, right? Unnecessarily.
And you can even feel them when they walk in right away.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some people are just negative Nancys, right? And so for me, dealing with patients that are afraid for their life, that are literally fighting or maybe at the end of their life, I tend to take all that on. And when you came and you did that on me, I was in a really stressed out space. I had a lot, and I didn't know you then.
Right.
So after
and
the
you
session,
trusted me. I
did, and now I had nothing to lose, girl. I was going to get a nap. But we talked a little bit after because I had questions. You didn't just start telling me stuff. Right. I had questions, and you shared with me some things that you would never know.
Right.
And I was like, wow, I'm a believer. And I left here feeling 20 pounds lighter.
Right.
Physically and spiritually, and I was able to kind of just clear all that negative, heavy stuff. Right. And it made me a more effective mentor to those that are going through it. So it really was. And I think, you've got nothing to lose by experiencing this. She's not putting a spell on you. She's, like literally, it just is a great meditation practice in my mind as the patient.
And it's beautiful. It's positive, all positivity, no negativity.
Yeah, there was nothing negative. There was nothing negative. So it was really a cool experience for me. So that is something we offer at the Care Project through Norma. We can refer you to her. We will even help patients pay for it. In some cases, we gift it to patients that we think really need it, and thank you, because I know that you volunteer a lot with veterans. You volunteer a lot with cancer patients, and that is priceless. So thank you for that.
Of course.
What else did I want to talk about? The meditation, we talked about that, the yoga, the Reiki. How much did you practice yoga and meditation when you were... Like when your mom was in treatment and then when you were diagnosed?
No, I didn't start yoga till the summer of 2018.
Okay.
Wait, no, 2019, because I wanted to be able to do that with... I actually didn't know why I did it. I just knew that I wanted to have this.
Kind of like when I started the Care. I don't know why, but I think I want to do this.
I use it at the Marine Corps for recovery with their injuries, and it just worked perfectly. And then taught them how to meditate. And
and if big, strong Marines can meditate and learn and accept this, we could all try it.
Right. Yeah, it's beautiful.
What's the worst that can happen?
They kept coming back asking, Norma, when are we going to do this again? But we had to make time. And so I didn't start doing this until maybe the end of 2018.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Really interesting. So you're starting school again?
Yes. I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but
I think it's going to be great for you.
Right.
I think it's going to be great for you because you really go where you feel called.
Right. And I've toyed with this for about 2 years, 3 years. So I think acupuncture is just going to be another beautiful thing to add to. And my whole dream is to open up a wellness center like yours, but offer that medicine and just hire like psychiatrists and massage therapists, just have a whole realm of different professionals. But if I know a little bit about everything, then I can hire the ones that I know that are going to be good, or I can understand a lot better. I think acupuncture is going to be something good. So in 3 years, I'll be hopefully Dr. Lopez.
Yeah. Nice. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So I ask everyone that I talk to that's a survivor, what's the best and worst thing to come out of your diagnosis?
The best thing? Well, all you have to do is look at my page, my Instagram pages,
Yeah.
both of them, my business and my personal, and see my growth and the different outlook of life and just taking chances and moving forward and not being left behind. I don't want to be left behind. I want to keep moving forward and just meeting amazing people. I don't know where my life would be if I didn't. Because
I say that all the time.
Yeah,
and people look at me like I'm nuts.
Yeah, I was on a different path that wasn't mine.
Yeah.
It was not my path.
Yeah.
And
weren't you here for that one social? Did we talk about that? I think you were here that time when someone posed the question. It could have been me, my big mouth. But we answered the question of, if you could go back and choose whether or not you were going to control whether or not you were going to be diagnosed, would you keep yourself from being diagnosed? Does that make sense?
right. It
And
does make
without
perfect
a
sense.
doubt, I said I would not stop it.
No, I wouldn't
Because
stop it either.
it gave me the purpose for the last half of my life.
Exactly.
And I know that I'm right where I'm supposed to be, and I would never be here if it wasn't for what I experienced.
Exactly.
So-
I wouldn't be as passionate about what I do now.
Yeah. I always say that it's interesting that and ironic that I hold this title survivor, and I do that with pride, because before cancer, I was just surviving life like everybody else, going through the day-to-day
Right,
grind,
emotions.
divorced single mom, just surviving everything. And now I feel like I'm really living, right? And it sounds
Exactly.
so cliche, but it seems to be a reoccurring theme
It is.
for all of us.
Right.
That's like the best thing. What was the worst thing?
The worst thing? Going through the surgeries, just
Yeah.
losing the breast.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's
Just the actual.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
the PTSD that we hold on to, the
That's right.
treatment and the surgeries.
That's
That's,
right.
the only thing that we hold on to, because and then losing friends too, because it always
That's also
it continues.
That's also something that we've talked about in other episodes, is that a lot of patients feel abandoned or left behind by their friends who they think will always be there, and they just sort of filter out of your life.
right.
And we're going to talk about that more with our licensed clinical social worker, and how do we manage that, because that plays into your emotional side effects.
Right.
I will say that now that I'm 8.5 years out, my inner circle and my really close friends and who are now family to me, they are all survivors.
Yeah.
I was somewhere at a social function maybe 6 months ago, and I looked at it was when I spoke at UCR, and afterwards we all went to lunch, and I looked at my friend Christina, who's not a survivor, but I looked at her and I said, look down the table. There was like 10 of us at the table.
Right.
I said, they're all breast cancer survivors,
Yeah, I
and they're
remember
all like
seeing
my
those
best
pictures.
friends.
Yeah.
Like, none of my original friends, were there.
Because no one can connect with you on that level.
It's a different
right?
bond,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It
I always
is.
say it's like the Jamaica commercial. Once you go, right?
Exactly.
Right. So, final words. What would you say? What is your best advice to someone newly diagnosed?
Best advice is seek someone who's been through it. I know your family loves you and they support you, but that's not going to give you the answers, and you need to speak to someone and find out every avenue where you can go, because there's so much that you're going to go through.
Yeah.
And you have no idea. And someone's
Yeah.
already been there where you're at.
Yeah.
So that's where the help's going to come from, and you're going to get through this.
Right. I second that. That is why the CARE Project, myself, along with two-time survivor and author Margaret Lesh, put together and published a book called Handle with Care, Your Breast Cancer Support Group in a Book, with wisdom from the Hive Mind. The Hive being a group of survivors that we interviewed on various topics to get their different perspectives.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's really a great handbook for anyone newly diagnosed, anyone in treatment as well, and not just breast cancer, any form of cancer.
Right.
It's all relative, right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
all relative.
It is.
And then it's great for those people who love the people affected, So we often get a call, I often get calls personally, hey, my friend's sister or so-and-so's dad was just diagnosed. What can I get them? I want to send them a gift.
Right.
This book is the perfect gift. And 100% of the proceeds go to help further the mission at the CARE Project,
That's awesome.
which includes your therapies and others, right? So thank you for being part of our wellness team.
Thank you
for
for the
being
invite.
here. Join us next time when we talk more breast cancer and beyond.
Thank you for listening to Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. Please let us know what you think of the show by leaving a rating and review. And don't forget to share it with a friend. For more information or to connect with Carrie, go to thecareprojectinc.org.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.